Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. My name is Aiya Hidayat from 3B by IKBB. And before I start the presentation, I would like to give a greeting to y'all. Good morning, everyone. And today I'm going to introduce you to a major figure in the history of public relation, Ivy Lee. He's often called the father of modern public relation because of the major shift he brought to the way companies communicate with the public. In this presentation, we'll look at his life or a glimpse of his biography and then his approach to the public relation, the challenge he handled, and the legacy he left behind. And then we'll go to the next slide. The first slide is about the biography and the synopsis of the Ivy Lee. Ivy Lee was born on July 16, 1877 in Cedartown, Georgia. He started off as a journalist, which gave him a strong foundation in storytelling and media. But he didn't stop there. He saw a bigger opportunity in public relations. Ivy Lee believed that the public had a right to know the truth and that companies had a duty to communicate clearly and honestly. And that idea, transparency and honesty, become the heart of modern public relation practice. And over the years, he worked with some of the biggest names in business, including Standard Oil, the Pennsylvania Railroad, and the Rockefeller family. So he passed away in 1934, but his influence on PR still strong today. And then for the next slide is the key contributions. Ivy Lee really changed the game in corporate communication. Before him, most companies were super secretive. They avoided the press, especially during bad news. And then Lee introduced the idea that being open and accountable actually built trust. He encouraged company to face the public, especially when things went wrong. One of his key contributions was his work with Johnny D. Rockefeller, who was under massive criticism during labor strikes. Ivy Lee helped reshape Rockefeller's image, not through lies, but through visibility, empathy, and strategic communication. And we go to the next slide, the major effort. The first case that even faced one of Ivy Lee's most groundbreaking effort was in 1906 during the Atlantic City train crash. Instead of trying to cover up the incident, Lee convinced the Pennsylvania Railroad to provide accurate information directly to journalists. He issued what considered one of the first official press release, and it worked perfectly. The New York Times published the release almost word for word. This moment showed how powerful, honest, and direct communication could be. It also proved that if you gave the media clear, factual information, they're more likely to report it accurately. And then we go to the case two. Another major challenge came in 1914 during the Ludlow massacre in Colorado. Striking workers had been killed by the National Guard, and the public blamed the company and its leadership, especially John D. Rockefeller Jr. This was a full-blown public relation crisis. Lee advised Rockefeller to go meet the miners in person, listen to them, and show genuine empathy. He also suggests open communication with the media instead of silence. This helped rebuild Rockefeller's image and is still seen as a landmark example of smart technical crisis and management. And we go to the next slide is specialty and his legacy. If there's one thing Ivy Lee was known for, it's handling crisis communication with skill. He didn't just put out fires, He built a long-term strategy based on truth, timeliness, and trust. He used press release, gave journalists direct access to information, and encouraged public engagement instead of avoidance. This tactic might sound normal today, but back at that time, they were revolutionary. Because of Ivy League, public relations become more than just promotion. It became about relationship building and reputation management. And that's why he's still considered a legend in the field. And then we will go into the last slide. In closing, Ivy Lee wasn't just a public relation guy. He was a visionary. He believed that the public deserved honesty, even in those situations. Uh, even in tough situation. He pushed company to stop hiding and start engaging. His work set the foundation for ethical communication and built the structure of the PR industry we know today. So whether we're dealing with crisis, launching a campaign, or building a brand, a lot of what we do still traces back to what Ivy started. I think that's all from my presentation. Thank you for listening my presentation and thank you very much for your attention. I hope this presentation gives you a better understanding of legacy he left behind. I think that's all from me. Ayah Syam Hidayat. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.